Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, in a place called Sri Lanka, where vendors used to hawk their wares on the street. And you would have someone like a hat seller who would have a stack of hats on his head. They'd all be stacked one on top of the other. And he would walk around going, Thoppi, 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 because Thoppi means hat in Sinhalese. But he would go, Thoppi, Thoppi, Thoppi. And in making that noise, people would know, oh, the hat seller's around, and come outside to buy a hat if they needed a hat. Now, one day, this hat seller was having a slow day, and it was particularly hot and humid, and he thought, okay, I'm going to just take a nap, and when the sun has gone down a bit, I'll continue selling. And so he sat down under a tree, and he took off all of his hats except for one, put them down next to him, and fell asleep. Now, while he was sleeping, a horde of monkeys spied on him, and they saw the sleeping hat seller, and they decided to take all of his hats. And so when the hat seller woke up, he looked around and he thought, oh my gosh, I've been robbed. Where are my hats? And then he heard a crack of a branch above his head, and he looked up. And looking up, he saw a whole host of monkeys had all taken his hats and were holding his hats in their hands. And they were holding the hats on their heads. And he shook his fist into the air and said, throw down my hats, you weird wild monkeys. And the monkeys all shook their fists at him and screeched in return. Then he stomped his foot in anger because he was like, come on, throw down my hats, I need those. And the monkeys all stamped their feet and continued screeching. And so then the hat seller thought for a moment. He took his hat from his head and he waved it in the air, and he was satisfied to see that the monkeys were also waving their hats in the air. And then he threw his hat down with great force onto the ground. And when he did that, all of the monkeys copied him, throwing their hats down onto the ground. And then the hat seller very quickly gathered up all of the hats and stacked them all on top of his head and quickly walked away from the tree full of monkeys saying, Thoppi, 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 do you want to buy a hat?